Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Thank you for watching. Oh, great. Let me see if I can. We're going to go to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, in just a few moments because they've enacted a curfew at 8 p.m. I'm not sure why. There hasn't been any violence or anything. Let me get this back up real quick and get this running. Before we go to Elizabeth City, I want to show you what's going on in Stillwater, Minnesota earlier today. And the video we're about to see comes from Black Lives Media. Again, this was in Stillwater, Minnesota. It happened earlier this afternoon, and it's from Black Lives Media out of Minnesota, Stillwater, Minnesota.
So that guy wanted to drive through the crowd, and it almost ended up in this fight, but the police came and grabbed him and pulled him away, which was probably good for his safety.
We want to keep here for 1 second. We want to keep people informed about what happened. You guys see the neighbors have been nice. They raised their fists. They've been peaceful, right? So there was an angry motorist who refused to move his car. The police were on the scene, and lo and behold, a miracle of God, they took him away, put him in the back of the squad car, they moved his vehicle out of the street so we can peacefully continue our march.
All right, that was in Stillwater, Minnesota.
I just want you to relax.
Earlier this afternoon.
Stay in your house, enjoy your weeds or something.
Oh, Ralphie May. Rest in peace, Ralphie May. Okay, we're going to the protest now. Again, this is in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And hope I don't get a copyright hit for Ralphie May. This is going on in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. There is a curfew at 8 o'clock. So just about, what do we got? About 10 minutes, I'm guessing. Hello, censored by YouTube. Hello, Arthur Bacon. Hello, Moondog. Hello, Disciplinary Sage. No, the whole video has not been shown. 20-second snippet was shown to the select family members and to the attorneys. The media, the major media outlets are petitioning the court to have the whole body cam footage be shown. What happened in North Carolina? we reported this last Thursday that Andrew Brown Jr. had been shot by police in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. That's all we had at that time. Since then, there's been very little communication from the city of Elizabeth City, from the county that the city is in, and from the authorities, including the sheriff's department and the prosecutor's office. The FBI has stepped in, and they are investigating civil rights violations through the Department of Justice. And Mr. Brown was at his home in his car, getting ready to leave, when a group of sheriffs and a SWAT team from the county showed up to serve a search and arrest warrant for narcotics. They approached shooting, is what witnesses have said. They approached shooting. He backed up, shot in the arm, shot in the right arm, grazed 4 times, and started to drive away. He was shot in the back of the head, according to the autopsy, while trying to evade police, and crashed into a tree. There's question of the necessity of the use of deadly force in this situation, as there are in many situations like that. So that's kind of a recap of what's going on. Again, we followed the protests. Actually, I didn't even come on until after 8 o'clock last night, and we followed the protests up until about 10, when they peacefully disassembled. Tonight, for some reason, there has been an 8 o'clock curfew established. The people have been told that if you do not go home, if you do not disperse, you will be arrested. They advised all the women, kids, anybody that didn't want to be arrested, to disperse. Some have, some are still there. Again, keep in mind that this is a community of about 18,000 people. This is not a big city. This is not even a. It's a small city. 18,000 people. About half of the city population, roughly, is of the Black community, and that's what actually disciplinary sage. That's what that's 2 of the family members saw the 20 seconds. They showed 2 family members and the attorneys 20 seconds of one of the body cam footage, and they refused to show them anything and everything else. So with the lack of transparency, that automatically creates questions. And the son said, yes, it was an execution. The attorneys that saw it said, yes, it was an execution. And you can see a few number of diehards are sticking around here in Elizabeth City. Have you seen the 20-second clip censored by YouTube? No, you haven't. Just saying. All right. We're going to go for 4 minutes here to see what happens when the curfew is in effect, and hopefully nothing. Hopefully everybody disperses peacefully.
A really, really strong irritant that is very, very difficult to get out of your body. So, arrest may not be the only thing that you have to fear tonight. The physical toll on your body will be severe. I can tell you. The rubber bullet is armed. Tear gas to make you think you're dying. You can die from not being able to breathe. And so I really want you to understand this is not a discouragement or an encouragement. It is simply information for you to make the right decision for yourself and your family and your advocacy. Other police actions, again, looks like chemical munitions, less than lethal weapons being used against you, beanbags, rubber bullets, tear gas, mace. But just being generally uncomfortable, y'all. Have y'all been together? Okay. Just generally uncomfortable. And if there were a lot of people already that were trying to
This feed is currently from Status Quo, Status Quo, C-O-U-P.
And so instead of you getting out in a matter of hours, you may not get out for a while. So just be aware. But we're still gonna get you out anyway.
So wait. We had a peaceful week, however long out there, and see, I've been in a coma, which was my friend, so I'm just able to come out here now. We've been peaceful this whole time, and now we're forced to go in. Did they tell us why? I've been gone though.
They issued a state of emergency, and because they issued a state of emergency, it gives the state, the city and the county, the ability to issue
How long
ordinances.
has it been a state of emergency?
Since yesterday, and then the curfew was issued today.
Because somebody was throwing rocks and areas at police
Just
officers.
say,
They say,
just say.
It's just
We talking about
not-
just a rock.
What did they think gonna make happen tonight?
You said, say you want to.
And what is the thing that will
Hold on, let's get with John. Where John go?
I know there's a woman.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect.
We're 27 members away from
Must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do
come
not
member,
disperse
tell
by
your friends, tell your
you
family,
may be arrested
become a member
or
of
subject
Status
to other
Quo,
police action. You must
to help,
leave the area.
Help
This is
support the,
Elizabeth
my
City Police
reporting
Department.
around here.
There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your
And
purpose
so the
is,
Status
you
Quo
must
.com
leave
says
the area
join.
by 8 p.m. to
Sign
comply
up.
with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m.,
So let's,
you may
so
be
let's try and get
arrested
those
or
27
subject to
members
other police action. You must
by
leave
this
the
week,
area.
while I'm here in North Carolina.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the
I
Elizabeth City
overheard
Police
that,
Department. There is a
the
curfew
grass
in effect at 8
area over
p.m.
here,
No matter what
might be
your
private
purpose is,
property,
you
so
must
people
leave the
might be
area
safe over
by 8
there.
p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order.
Mind if I actually be gonna define where it's going?
You may be arrested or subject to police action. You must leave the area.
Okay, you'll notice I'm
This is
back.
the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is.
I'm back. I had to take care of the dog for a minute. You'll notice they're not chanting. They're not creating any kind of barrier or disturbance. They're being very civil, and I think a lot of them are trying to decide what to do. This is kind of unexpected. They weren't expecting a curfew to be announced, but under state of emergency, it can be.
This is the Elizabeth City arrest or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. You must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with the order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area by 8 p.m.
I've never censored anybody before, but you've been censored by YouTube. You're going to be censored by me too. This is garbage. Get it off of here.
If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to
Go somewhere else.
No matter what your purpose is. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There's a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. Must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action.
Enforce the
Must
curfew
leave
tonight.
the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There's a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply
What
with
do
this
you
order.
think about the Fed
Disperse
opening up
by 8 p.m.
investigation?
You may be arrested or subject to
Yeah,
other
we
police action. You must
they'll do the
leave
right
the
thing.
area.
Whatever they do, they can do the right
This
thing.
is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. You may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with
Oh, you don't have to leave. You just you can watch all you want until I figure out how to block people. Never done that, but it's overdue, and it's that kind of.
No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. You may be arrested or subject to.
No, that's the purpose censored by YouTube. Nobody has the 20 seconds with the exception of 2 family members and the attorneys.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m.
Again, if you're just joining us, we're watching what's going on in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and it's a nonstop, repetitive loop of the Elizabeth City Police Department warning those that are there. We'll see how they treat media, whether they recognize live streamers as media or not. If it gets to that place, you can see a wide group of police going down that one street, block for block for block.
You may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department.
No, I never said anybody knew what caused him to be shot.
You must leave the area by
I never gave a motive at all. I said he was shot evading the police, and it was a shot to the back of the head. You're just here for trouble, and that's okay. Young City, what up? How are you doing? T-Rex, what's going on? And I think I saw a rapper up there as well. See, I actually like people that don't understand what's going on, like Censored by YouTube. I like having him in here because the longer he's in here, the more chance we have of showing him what is happening. It's not happening every time, but it's happening too many times.
Keep moving. Keep moving.
So what they're being told is if they're moving, they look like they're dispersing, then they're not going to be messed with.
Without the police getting here, they check down my laptop. I didn't know how to do it. Well, that's all they tell me to do. You ain't got to go home just like moving. No, have to go home. Hey, that's all that.
In the flesh, y'all.
We all got to go home. Hey, I'm fine.
I'm blessed.
Good to see you.
Okay, so we're 10 minutes after 8. I guess the word is as long as they keep moving, they won't be messed with. It's a lot different than what we've seen in Louisville and in big cities in Minneapolis. Again, this is a really small town, and I'm glad that outside people aren't there, because these people are going to have to live there after the cameras and after the celebrities and everybody's gone, if they were to come. So Censored by YouTube, if they were trying to run somebody over, that would have been the 20 seconds shown, you maroon. You're just trying to start stuff because you feel so bad about yourself. You have to try to bring other people down to your level, and you're probably better than that. You probably just got some shit going on that you need to deal with. Yeah, really. Something to think about.
1,200 people watching. Let's smash that like button. We got 600 likes. Let's get it up there.
Or subject to other police action must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to allow this order. If you're not dispersed by
yeah, everybody's got a ignore button, you know.
So that's the
Oh,
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There's a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must
You can see down the street, there's blue lights for several blocks there.
By 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area.
Let's see if he comes over here.
Yeah, there are some suspected white supremacists in the chat. And again, as long as they're watching this, as long as they're seeing what's happening, as long as they're honest with themselves and understand that this isn't a riot, that these people are protesting, that it's their First Amendment right, just like they love the Second Amendment, and I do too. The First Amendment is just as important. And maybe somebody will change their mind. Maybe somebody will go, you know what? And maybe I'm a doofus, and I'm just way overly optimistic. But if it gets too bad, I'll start banning people. I don't ever want to do that. Okay, what's that got to do with Elizabeth City, North Carolina? Proud Boy leaders and a Cuban immigrant, so?
No one should have to move. Why other people may have to move? But people have their people. They have their peacefully assembly. They have the right to peacefully assemble. This is an infringement upon the people's rights.
And that's true. I don't know why that hasn't been challenged in the Supreme Court by one of these attorneys.
The people have been people. I'm not moving, and I hope there are a lot of other people who know. I'm not going to move. This is a violation of the people's rights. I would understand if people have been breaking out windows. I would understand if people were out hurting other people.
You know, the founder of the Proud Boys was also an FBI informant. Just saying.
They have not bothered anyone.
If they're your streets, buddy, you need to get out there amongst them instead of here on your keyboard. It's easy to say my streets when you're on a keyboard. Get out there among them.
The police and the deputies are the ones who are violating the rights of the people.
I don't commit any crimes, and I don't fight the police.
No one here has killed anybody. So why they have to move? This is an
Thank you, Universal Knowledge. Oh my gosh. My battery's dying.
To disobey an immoral law. We have a moral obligation to disobey an immoral law. This is an immoral law. You're going to keep killing us. You shoot people in the back of the head. And you're telling us we can't even assemble? They're the ones who need to get off the street. The deputies need to get off the street. Look, I represent an organization, it's called Stop Killing Us. I'm Reverend Curtis Gatewood. We represent an organization called Stop Killing Us, the acronym SCOOP. Stop Killing Us Solutions Campaign. And this is what we are saying to the police and everyone else. Please listen. Every officer who commits excessive force and expected.
Oh, how we doing, everybody? Hey, Warrior Captain.
Should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah, I had to go get my power cord.
And that person should be banned from police officers or any law enforcement work in any jurisdiction.
Censored by YouTube. There are there are a lot of legitimate arrests made. There are a lot of people that do not end up dead from police. Okay? But the point is, the ones where everybody shows up like this, something at least appears wrong. And if you can come to that place to understand that, that's a step. Stay out of the streets. That's pretty good advice. Born King, that's pretty good advice. Warrior Captain, we are in Elizabeth City, watching Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and a curfew has been imposed. It started at 8 o'clock, and so far, almost all of the protest has dispersed. There are probably 25, 30 protesters and maybe 10 or 15 media.
If you want to talk peace talk to the people who are violent. Not the people who are on the street trying to abide by the U.S. Constitution, while the police officers and other law enforcement agencies such as the government, they are violating.
Yeah, the Florida officer planning drugs, universal knowledge brings up. It's like 57 or 58, something like that, different cases where he got arrested planning drugs.
And that is what we're seeing across the country. Disorderly police, unlawful police, whose standards are so low and so inferior until they do not meet the standards of a humane society. That's the problem, not the people. That's the problem. So I hope the police are going to be peaceful, and we will be peaceful.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up how to do that, T-Rex. I'm gonna be prepared next time. I never wanted to have to do that, but I need to have it. I know another account takes 2 seconds. So eventually, you'll spoil it for everybody, and we'll have to have what are they called? Monitors, not monitors. What are they called? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I know there are people that come in here under 3 and 4 different names. Moderators, thank you. Social Media News Network, thank you.
This is about justice. Yes, it's about Andrew Brown. And the people who murdered Andrew Brown were unjust. So we don't address Andrew Brown's issue by taking more injustice. That's not the solution. The solution is to push back against injustice. That's the solution. And so I'm not here to succumb to injustice.
Fred, that's my concern, honestly. Okay, I've already heard this guy, so I'm going to mute for just a second. Fred, that's one of my biggest concerns is that police, this is a fact. There are a lot of police officers that are really upset over the fact that Derek Chauvin was found guilty. Okay? Don't be surprised if those police don't take it out on people. I'm just going to put it that way. That's why I think this is a tipping point here. What happens here? Because eventually people are going to start just trying to kill police in a kill or be killed situation. And that's just an absolute, oh God, I hope not too, Fred. I hope not too. But that, like I said, that is my biggest fear of where all this leads. So, yeah, Space Frog, I agree. You only hear one side, and I all the time talk about If if you're only hearing one thing, you're only going to be looking one way, and you're going to be thinking one way. So that's why I like not having moderators or not really censoring. It's not about victimizing criminals to fuel a race war. It's about showing that at times excessive force is used when it's unnecessary, and that cops should not be held to a higher standard, and that just because someone might be deemed a criminal based upon a warrant does not mean the police are judge, jury, and executioner. We've talked about this a lot on this show. So let's get back to the volume. I'm going to go back and get a drink because my throat's getting sore. I love y'all, even you censored by YouTube. As my grandma from the South used to say, bless your little heart,
All the right thing. How is it they are being asked to go home at 8 o'clock when some people just get off work at 8? My God, this is absurd. So, and listen, they're trying to push us into doing something. It's like they're trying to push us into doing something. No one is doing anything.
Yes, they are.
So you're trying to force us to do wrong?
Trying to bait you to do wrong.
How dare this? This is absurd. This is absurd. So I'm not going anywhere. I don't know what everybody. You know what? If I was going home at 8, I'm not going home now. I probably would go home at 8 on my own. But you don't tell me I can't be here? If I don't have the freedom to be here, I want to make sure I'm here after 8 because it's so unjust. Can't do it. So I hope they don't arrest me. I hope they don't hurt me. I hope they don't shoot me or kill me. But I'm not going to obey an unjust law. I hope they don't hurt, but I'm not going to do it. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department and the police.
Again, the feed is from Status Co. COUP, Status Coop.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you're not, this is the Elizabeth City Police Department.
Yes, that's Space Frog. Yeah, that's everybody's got an ignore button. If things get too much, but I do need to have the ban. I do need to know how to do that, just in case.
Well, okay, we just got 2 new members. Welcome to the Status Quo team.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect.
All right, so now we are 25 members away from 1900.
The block button. T-Rex. There's a question for the chat right there. T-Rex.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action.
So now they're blocking off the entire downtown mall.
John, wait.
Again, as you can see, there are probably 30 protesters and maybe 10, 15 media. It's not like this is a huge gathering or. I think a lot of people are just standing around here waiting to see what's going to happen when the police finally pull up. Everybody will disappear except for maybe this one man who says he's going to stay here. Yeah, run. Should be exercising the timeout option. Okay. No, we're not going to see tear gas. Lunner's hat top. Yeah, there is a big difference in the size of the city and the way people protest, and when outside quote unquote organizers come in.
That's your question? Yeah. Do you think this system can be reformed?
Great question.
It could be, but I understand those who saying it can't be because there's just so much systemic. The system is staying to such a profound extent. The racism, the white supremacist tactics. I can understand why people have lost hope and just say that this system cannot be.
No, I didn't put Space Frog in timeout, did I?
It could be, but it would mean that people would have to listen and then take action because we actually
okay.
We actually have about 18 points.
Hey, I'm a doofus. It can happen.
It can stop this. And like I said, things like no knock searches, things like making sure police officers are their background are checked, in addition to making sure that they're not affiliated to any white supremacist terrorist groups, making sure that there are regular checks with emotional stability, making sure drug tests are being made. Police officers will really have to be held accountable to a way in which I don't think the system is ready. That's why people are feeling like we should almost abolish the system totally. But I really do believe it can be done because unfortunately, sometimes we have to go to an extreme in our society before the pendulum can go back to what is reasonable. And so we're at an extreme in history right now. And so with that being the case, that's when civil rights acts were passed. That's when, Emancipation Proclamation. Unfortunately, we never got the Declaration. But there are, unfortunately, we're at an extreme moment now. So I think reform is possible. But I understand people who are losing hope. And it's sad to say, I'm just being honest. I understand.
Thank you for,
Yeah.
you're gonna stay here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, in case you're just joining us, we are 33 minutes past an imposed curfew in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. The site of the police action killing of Andrew Brown Jr. And the people have been warned to disperse or they would be arrested. And so far, nothing's happened. Let's hope it stays this way. Again, it's a small town, and the people that are a part of this, they're going to have to live with what happens afterwards. And that's something that is often forgotten. And the people of Louisville will tell you about that. Speaking of which, Department of Justice investigation into the city government of Louisville, as well as the Louisville Police Department, and a FBI investigation launched here here in the location we're seeing right now, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, for potential civil rights violations in the death of Andrew Brown Jr. The autopsy came out today. The independent autopsy that was commissioned by the family, and 4 bullet wounds in the arm and 1 shot in the back of the head. There's also the footage on the neighbor where one of the shots, a stray shot, went through 2 walls, a clock, and eventually struck his crock pot on the counter. And so that's a little recap of where we are. We're just kind of watching at the moment. I'm going to step back from the monitor and sit back on the couch for a couple of minutes, and hopefully everything stays peaceful.
We're not on the bridge, but like we're in.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m.
There were probably 250 people out here, Warrior Captain, and nobody knew there was a curfew. They just suddenly said, there is now a curfew at 8 o'clock. You must disperse. And a lot of people did. So that's why you don't see a lot of people out here at the moment. Again, I'm going to step back and we'll listen.
Your purpose is you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., action, you must leave the area.
Okay, one more question, if you don't mind.
No problem.
You know, the Democrats have complete control of DC right now. Do you think Biden and the Democrats are doing enough to challenge the police power?
I really don't think anyone has done enough over the past 10 years. You know, it didn't just happen. It didn't just start. You know, and so I don't think the Democrats are doing enough. I don't think the Republicans have done enough. I don't think any of the major parties have done enough. I'm not just here to politicize and say one side hasn't done enough and the other side should have done more. They're all guilty. And so therefore, we shouldn't even be in this predicament right now. Like I said, the standards we have, they are very humane, consistent to the Constitution of the United States of America. If we want to protect lives, we could. And so it's obvious that there is something deeper here. And it's beyond party labels. It is consistent with what has happened historically with Black people and the absence of justice and humanity and decency and a respect for our lives. And I think that's why so many people went, to such an extent to support the message of Black Lives Matter, because it was basically just saying that we are human beings and our lives matter. So to either party, I'm not here to say it's on the back of Joe Biden or the vice president, but the United States Justice Department, Defense Department, they defended everybody for Black people. Just think about it. There has never been a defense for us. We put all of our money. We're some of the highest, disproportionately, we're paying taxes more than the rich people who are actually participating in this oppression. Black people are already paying more than their share. Yet, there is, in all of our money, the high percentage of our money going to defense. It's not defending Black people. We're sent out on the front line, but it's never been anything, whether you go to North Korea, whether you go to Vietnam, whether you talk about Afghanistan, Iraq, there has never been anything to defend Black people. Those were not causes for us.
Apologies there. I let the dog in and tripped over a cord.
Well,
there we
all
go.
the money that's going to defense, it could be going to making sure Black people are not the victim of citizen disparity, economic slavery, all these things that we're having to face. And then once the jobs are taken away, then come the guns and the drugs into our communities. And the next thing you know, systemically, we're being pushed out of school on the pipeline to prison. It's all set up. And it doesn't matter to me which party you're in, you need to fix it. And if you can't fix it, stop acting as if you are representing the people. Because Black people are people.
The feds announced that they opened a civil rights investigation into Anthony's murder. What are your thoughts about that?
The civil rights investigation should come automatically. And not only should there be an investigation, we've seen this movie before. It's a horror movie, but unfortunately, it's replayed almost every day. And so therefore, the Justice Department's decision to investigate is nothing new. It's something that should be done, but investigation should also come with a way to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's what we're not getting. And so the first time it was the first slave who escaped the plantation and they beat him up, hung him up. That should have been the time right there, okay. Let's record this. We have, okay, first of all, we're going to free the slaves. Now, after we free the slaves, we don't need slave patrol. We need real police officers who do real police work, who don't target, don't profile, don't do anything to harm black people because they are black. You make sure that you use your laws to make sure we're all protected. That should have been from day one. Here we are, 2021, and we're still dealing with this. And when we can look at the countries, whether the UK, whether it's Wales, or other countries where those countries combined would not have as many police killings as we have. They probably not have it within a month that we would have. We probably have more in a month than they would have in years. So this is not hard. It's not hard. It's a willingness to do it, and evidently there's an unwillingness to do this somewhere, and it's systemic. It's systemic and it's sickening. And we shouldn't be here talking about this right now.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. You need to leave the area first. By 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area.
Wow. So I'm getting the chance to play. You got my message, bro.
I've been out.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There's a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m.
Okay, it's 8:44. The curfew went into effect at 8 p.m. And as you can see, very few people actually out here. Hey, James. I think the best look would be for the Elizabeth City Police Department to withdraw and just let everybody walk away. But I do think this could be a baiting tactic. Way to get the protesters to make some kind of wrong move, and so far they're not. And that's awesome. And again, the constitutionality of an 8 p.m. curfew suddenly imposed, or imposed at all when there is no real emergency. There's no hurricane coming. There's no gas leak. They expected an uprising that didn't happen, and thankfully it remained local and remains peaceful, and hopefully it stays that way.
This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. You may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is, you must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. This is the Elizabeth City Police Department. There is a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. No matter what your purpose is,
I mean, there hasn't been.
by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you do not disperse.
Okay, while he's just doing that, there hasn't been an instance of anything happening. One police officer said somebody threw a plastic water bottle at his car, and supposedly that's what spurred all of this. Again, keep in mind that this is North Carolina. This is imagine 50 years ago, this was Mayberry. Okay, this was the town cops probably didn't carry guns. If they did, they probably had a bullet in their pocket like Barney Fife. And all of a sudden, you've got the eyes of a lot of people on you, and you can see that they're in force. The police are in force, and I don't know. Maybe word went down that they didn't. I thought they performed exceptionally last night in keeping the protesters safe and keeping an eye to make sure nothing happened. And I expected it to go off much like that tonight, but again, they imposed an 8 p.m. curfew. I question the constitutionality of that, and I question the necessity for it when there is no state of emergency. But that's for somebody there on the ground to be dealing with. I have not seen one protester armed in North Carolina. Now, Louisville, generally the protesters are surrounded by armed security, and they are well armed. A lot of them are. Well, I've had one of them on here before from the United Pharaohs Guard, and but that hasn't been the case here. And North Carolina is an open carry state as far as long rifles, and you do have to have a permit to purchase or a concealed carry permit in order to buy a handgun in North Carolina. Again, this guy's going to end up becoming an area hero just because he took a stand by sitting down. He said, "You're not going to make me leave. I'm a grown man and I got a First Amendment right. I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'm not leaving." That's what a leader does. It's not about telling people what they want to hear, or it's about telling people what they need to hear and being an example. So that's we may be watching history right here. We are watching history as each episode documents the ever-changing country and world we're in. No, true janitor, they're not going to gas anybody. And if enough images get out of this man, he's going to become a hero. Let's see, 100% black rack. First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peacefully assemble. Okay, that's in the second comment. And to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So, yes, thank you very much. Oh man, he should be armed and charged in the police line. Get rid of police in exchange for the military. I'm not into that either.
So why would I leave? I'm not, and because I have a granddaughter, and for people who have not been born, they deserve better than this. They deserve better. Don't kill my neighbor and then tell me I can't protest peacefully. Don't shoot them in the back of the head, in the back, everywhere, and then you're going to tell me you're going to arrest me if I peacefully protest after 8? No, it's not going to happen.
my fear about this was always this righteous indignation, which is justified and needs to be expressed, was going to be met with ignorance and hate. When I first got word that there might be counter protesters heading to Elizabeth City, thankfully that hasn't happened. I don't think it will happen now. I don't think this is going to grow. I think this is going to grow virally, but I don't think people are going to be going to Elizabeth City. I could be wrong, but I think we're going to witness a tipping point here. If this gets swept under the rug, if it looks like, okay, the George Floyd, the verdict in his murder trial was a one-off thing, and there is not going to be any more justice, then we're going to be in for a really, really long, hot, violent, deadly summer. Now, if the FBI says we're going to show the tapes, show the tape, no matter what it shows. If it shows he was wrong, it shows he was wrong, but don't hide it. And if it showed he was wrong, come on, we got enough common sense to know if the tape showed anything this guy did wrong, that was the first thing they would have shown. But they didn't. They spent hours redacting it, cutting it, and deciding on the exact 20 minutes that they wanted the family to see in a loop. So I'm hoping this just continues to grow viral, and I hope you go back and watch the last episode and see the story of David McAtee, because when names are said, that's a name that's not ever mentioned outside of Louisville, and what happened to him deserves attention, in my opinion. So here we go back to the volume for a little bit. We're at 8:54, so almost an hour after curfew, and everybody just standing around. The cops in a line 2 blocks away, and also police. Again, I'm not familiar with the layout of the city, so I can't tell you directions. But to police to what would be our screen right down the street, and one lone man with a video camera, with a cell phone, walking towards the vehicles. And again, he's probably half a block away. We're watching Status Coup, COUP. That's the stream we're currently watching, and doing an excellent job. Okay, real quick. It appears tonight the Elizabeth City PD are the counter protesters. That's right, T-Rex. Yeah, each state has its constitution, and there are things that federal laws will supersede, and there are things that are states' rights. And to a lot of people that want to whitewash history, they say the Civil War was fought about states' rights and not about slavery. And that's also how they convinced a lot of poor white guys from the South to fight, was that they told them they were losing their freedom, that their rights were going to be taken away. It sounds awful lot like what was happening when Trump was in the White House. I'm just saying, it's just true. When they weren't going to lose any of their rights, nothing was going to be taken away from them. But anyway, it's odd that the first Civil War was launched in South Carolina, and hopefully this, in all irony, is the launching of a new concept, of a revolution of ideology that understands that Black people aren't wanting preferential treatment; they're wanting equal treatment, and they've been wanting that for for a long time. It looks like the police might be starting to move in, so we'll go back to Elizabeth City.
If you do not disperse by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area.
Now, by now, if we were in Louisville, the police would have been in riot gear and a line and ready to move forward. It might be Armageddon. I don't, anybody that watches the show knows I don't want any of it. I want peace. I want conversations to keep happening instead of bullets to start flying. Because I really think there are a lot more of us that want peace and equality and freedom, and our voices just aren't as loud as those that scream hate. I'm not big on getting rid of the police for the National Guard. I would rather see police departments structured more towards hiring based upon living in communities. I think you ought to live in the community that you're policing. I think you ought to know the community. I think you ought to know the people. I think that would make a huge difference. But that's an interesting observation, Warrior Captain. That's another interesting observation, Warrior Captain. Whites want to stay attached to black people and feed off our energy. No, I'm not going to debate you. I don't agree, but there's nothing to debate. That's not, that's just that's opinion, and it's a valid opinion. I can understand why somebody would think that way. And I know Warrior Captain has watched a lot of episodes, and I know she's heard me say that the most important thing that white people can do is just get out of the way. Just get out of the way. And if black people want to have their own nation, if black people want to go, start a country, as Grandmaster Jay had proposed, or golly, the guy with the bee on his back, he's starting to be, I'm starting to see him all over the place. I'm sorry, because it popped in me back to Minnesota, and I forget where I was at. Yeah, I would hate it. I would hate it because it would just make me sad. I mean, there are so many interracial families. There's so many interracial kids, and no matter what, somebody's talking bad about half of their family, and And I just, I just wish it would stop. But if black people don't want to live anywhere around white people, I understand that. I get it. I'm pretty certain I've never argued that. There's no white privilege if there are no whites around. If there are no non-whites around, okay? No white people there if you don't count the white people. Oh, come on. Be nice. Be civil. You don't have to like each other. Dr. Ray, America has enough space that every race could have its own place. Yeah. There's enough land there, without a doubt. Putting in infrastructure in areas to make it feasible would take a lot of time and a lot of money, but heck, anything can be done. So I get invited to the cookout. Cool. I'll come. Is a cookout like once a year, or how often? Not that I got an incredibly busy schedule, but yeah, I'd come to the cookout. Kentucky Derby's coming to Louisville, Kentucky this coming Saturday. And a year ago, Kentucky Derby Day was the site of a formation by NFAC, led by their Supreme Commander Grandmaster Jay, and a counter formation led by the Angry Viking. And Angry Viking disappeared, and one of the viewers that contributes found Angry Viking. Angry Viking was on TikTok. He's now a personal trainer, no longer Angry Viking. He disassociated himself with the angry movement and the patriot movement and the Trump movement and everything else January 6th, supposedly. But also, supposedly, he's never been in Louisville, and he'd never heard of me. So odd. But nonetheless, the Dylan Stevens, formerly known as the Angry Viking, has resurfaced. What I brought Louisville up about originally, even though I wanted to tie in that bit of information that had been passed along to me by one of our viewers. I had probably the best food I ever had in my life, walking through a black neighborhood on the way back home, or way back to my car, from being in the infield at the Kentucky Derby. It was in a house. The people were just cooking in the house, and there was a guy sitting out there saying, "If you're hungry this way, $5 all you can eat." And I was separated from the group that had ridden down there with me, so I just went into the house, and guy at the door with a cigar box, and I gave him $5, and I went in the back, and where he pointed me, and the ladies back there filled me a styrofoam plate that, and I was saying, no, I don't want any greens. I don't eat greens. And they put them on there and said, "You'll eat these." And I did. So, yeah, I'll be at a cookout. That's a long way of saying it. Angry Viking didn't want no smoke. I don't think, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think once he got into things and saw what things really were, it was like, this wasn't what I envisioned. And he GOTFO. So, yes, Warrior Captain. Black people, I mean, there's been a couple of times, there have been a couple of times I've ran into some black people that just, had dark spirits and were full of hate. And, but, nobody pressed the issue. But the majority of times, I mean, the vast majority of times, 99.9% of the time, black people have been so nice. So nice. And, I played on a traveling sports team, and I was one of only 3, maybe 4, depending on who got invited on each trip. I was one of 3 or 4 white guys on the team. And there was a time when organizers at one of the tournaments we were at didn't want us to play because it was an all black team. And my black teammates said, these guys aren't white. They're just, they're just really, really pale. And stood up for us. And we played in that tournament. And yeah, that's just one, it's just one example. But there are so many examples of people of color being nice to me, and specifically people in the black community. End all racism today, not tomorrow. I wish we could, man. I wish we could. Never saw one, Warrior. I have not seen one. I had a story the other day about Texas and about the about how school kids in 9th grade had decided they were going to auction off some of their black classmates, which it just makes me want to hurl to even say that, but that's what it was about. And at the end of it, they talked about white kids playing with a little 8-year-old black kid and pinning him down, and one of them saying, "Put your knee on his neck." And I had another story about a kid running for the bus, and he got on the school bus and smiled at the driver and said, "I'm out of breath." And he said, "You all say that." The white bus driver said, "You all say that since George Floyd." So, there are little things that go on that don't get reported. You're not going to see on mainstream media that we talk about on here and we show on here. And it's because of you that I'm able to do it. And I thank you all. I sincerely do. Broad Ripple in the building. All right, James. The Village. I was on stage there once at a place called the Vogue. I played the patio a couple of times, and that was a long time ago. I think I'm sure the Vogue's still there, but I know the patio's gone, and I don't remember the other place we played. The other place we played was a pit, but it rocked. For those of you that don't know, Beach Grove or Broad Ripple is a area to the north and slight east of downtown Indianapolis. Actually, I support NFAC and Grandmaster Jay's theme. Even so, I want to be left alone to roam the earth and exist. Ignorance, hate will be around forever because the system is what it is. I sincerely hope that there comes a time when people can be when people can be just left alone, that want to be left alone, and that ignorance and hate will be shown for what it is. All right, this guy's one person sitting down. Now he's got 2 other people with him for a total of 3. And that's how movements really start, like that. Eagle's Nest. It's the black parents' fault. Do not send your children to school with the enemy in a war. It's wartime. Warrior Captain, to that point, there are a lot of white people that are homeschooling their kids because they don't want them going to school with black kids. And to me, that is a major problem as far as sociological, because at a young age, you should be able to peacefully and lovingly and joyfully interact with all people. But hate and prejudices get taught and get passed on and get acted upon, as I just talked about with a couple of stories from earlier episodes. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the audio here for a few minutes again, sit back down on the couch and see what develops. We are an hour and 15 minutes past when curfew was. Again, it was a much bigger crowd when the curfew was announced. The curfew was announced probably 40 minutes, a half an hour to, that's beautiful, half an hour to 40 minutes before 8. And as soon as I heard it was announced, I had to get on here because the Pasquotak, that's the name of the county too. Name of the river is the name of the county. Beautiful full moon coming up tonight. Hey, T-Rex, if I was better funded, I'd be doing stuff like that. Getting out in the streets. Actually, I did a live the other day when I was taking Oakley for a walk, and it was basically to just test the equipment and make sure everything worked, because I have a feeling some stuff's going to shoot off here in Indiana. A white guy got caught trying to plant an improvised explosive device in front of the police station in Terre Haute, Indiana on Saturday, and things were going on. I didn't have a chance to really report on it. I gave it a mention in a live, but I didn't show that. If not for somebody having a cell phone and doing a live feed, there might have been a hanging here in Indiana last July 4th in Monroe County at the Monroe Reservoir, in Brown County, actually, at the Monroe Reservoir, the Brown County part of that reservoir. So yeah, I would much rather be out and showing my own footage and controlling what's seen and controlling than being dependent on other live streamers, especially ones I'm not really familiar with. Thank you, Industrial Arts. We're kept majority teachers in American public schools are white females. Now that's racist. You're probably right. I don't know the stats, but you're probably right. I was a public school teacher for my first 4 years out of college. I taught government economics, psychology, sociology, U.S. history, world history, and geography. And I was a coach, okay? And in all honesty, I was hired to coach more than I was hired to teach. And I was also making more money entertaining, playing music on the weekends than I was teaching and coaching 5 and 7 days a week, which was a poor statement on our education system at that time. But there were a lot more female teachers than male teachers. Circle Center Mall. Okay. All right. I know where Circle Center Mall. Absolutely. Anybody ever visited? And I'm not a member of the Chamber of Commerce or anything like that, but Indianapolis is a pretty cool city downtown. If you ever get a chance to visit. What were the demographics at the school that I taught at? It was 100% white. The school, it was a rural school. Actually, I taught at 3 different schools, but the one I taught the majority at, and the one I was hired to coach at, was a white school, all white school. Yeah, I've never denied that at all. No, none of your business. No, I haven't. I've never denied that at all. That actually, I kind of preach that they try to use race to divide us, when in fact we've got an awful lot more in common than we do anything that separates us. And the separation is more forced than it is natural. The separation is more taught than it is ingrained. But yeah, it's yeah. Hey, I went to an all-white high school. There just weren't any. I lived in rural Indiana, and there just weren't any black families around. That's just the way it was, and I got a lot of friends that grew up with hate, distrust, and ignorance. A lot of the people I were friends with when in school have some incredibly narrow attitudes, and we don't even play golf together anymore. Thanks, True Janitor. No, there were no black students there, Warrior Captain. Now, but I mean, I went to college too, and actually, I went to 2 different colleges, actually 3 if you consider postgraduate. But no, there were no. Now we played against black students from other schools, like bigger cities like Newcastle, Richmond. If we played an Indianapolis team, but I went to school. There were 88 kids in my graduating class. All right. That was in my entire senior class. There was 88 of us to start, and 84 actually graduated. So yeah, I went to a tiny little rural school, but I also went to the library a lot and read a lot. And since leaving that tiny little area, I've lived in a lot of diverse places. Okay. Well, True Janitor, why are you here then? Just saying. Who did I compete with in track? I finished second in the sectionals, and the person the 2 winners were both from Richmond, and one was a black guy named Vegas Ferguson, who went on to play at Notre Dame and for the New England Patriots. And the other one was a guy named Roger Frazier. And Roger Frazier won. And there was a picture. That had the 3 of us in the starting blocks, and I was in the middle of the 2 of them, because that's how we finished. That's how we ended up finishing. And they used that picture, and there were some racist comments made about that picture, just to be honest with you. So, but yeah. Who cleaned your all white school, Barry? We had a couple of great people that were janitors at the school. One of them was a parent. One of them was the dad of one of my girlfriends back then. Yeah. Hey, T-Rex, there was one asshole that that did. Yeah, there was one that actually did. And I had an altercation with him at one time. But anyway, that's not what any of this is about. This is about Elizabeth City and whether the police are going to come and make 14 people leave, or they're going to continue to grant them their First Amendment rights. And you all in the chat, you need to tell me, hey, get back to the volume, get off your soapbox. When I spend too much time talking and not enough time with volume from the stream. So, but yeah, this all started. I was going to go back and get a drink because my throat's getting sore. This all started when T-Rex asked me why I wasn't out there, and I have a feeling I'm going to be out there in Indiana before very long. Oh, Pi 180. That's a new name. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Wow. I understand how you might think that, but one of the things I talk about on here is I got you, T-Rex. It's coming up. Yes, the Klan's pretty heavy in Indiana, and it's okay. Be rude. Tell me to get back to the volume when I'm talking too much. But Pi 180. One of the things I talk about in here a lot is the concept of monolithic thinking, and that is the idea that all are one way. All white people are like this. All black people are like this. It's an easy way to think. It's an easy way to communicate, but it creates a vision of division that is not always there, because not all black people think alike. Not all white people think alike. Not all black people feel the same. Not all white people. Not all brown people. Any people. Just we're all humans, and we all have our frailties. We all have our faults, and we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And we all should try to have love for each other. Back to the volume. I hear y'all.
No kickback from the law, period. This is kickback. This is what it's called kickback, right? Because it's not being transferred with the family. Because now the family is saying now you're going to handle a problem now. It was fair playing ground on each side. You wouldn't have to go out there protest, right?
Right, there was some transparency.
There's transparency here, but it's not. They always say that. Like, when they say there's transparency, we're going to lie to you guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's not being transparent, really. They all, they have all the things. Very transparent. I promise you, look them up.
Yeah.
They all have transparency. Yes, and so even with the same thing they just face too, they showed us one tape with my family, like 3 days after it happened, but put out a different picture of the public. So that's the thing. We called the DA several times about this. They won't answer the phone for us. We go up there and answer the phone. We had news reporters call the DA's office about the same statement I've made. They refused to answer the phone. This has been on for almost 2 months now. We've been calling and calling. Yeah, I mean, they won't answer emails or anything at all, period. Nothing. Well, I had people who called blaming me. These are acts, and they will ask their questions, but not mine. I'm saying it's mother. How expected that is to me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then they wonder why you get angry though. What do you mean? They taxes and stuff, so we're gonna be angry. Gonna be upset. We're allowed to be upset. We haven't reached out to them, but I mean, like I said, I'm no respect to them. I'm fighting for social change right now. When it comes to like vigilant companies, things like that, I feel like they're more so like about them. I'm not looking for a paycheck. I'm not looking for a dollar. You can't get on Sunday. This has to be changed. And we got the same attorney. No, they were fighting. The bill is still gonna get passed right now. That's what's out here right now still. Think about it like this. At the beginning of the year, Biden, nothing against LGBT community at all, period. Nothing at all, period. Much love at all, right? They passed the whole bill. and protection for them. Why we waiting for our bill to get passed? Why we still waiting? Why we still waiting? They gotta bill passed too, not be able to get some of you. Love them too. Why we gotta wait though? They got a bill. We got thousands of children. Where's our bill? We got plenty of just cars saying what's going on. So it's bill company. You don't need no more than just by why the bill try to get passed. That's the thing.
Be married.
Him too. I don't care. We married. I don't care who it is. Period. All of them here. It's between fighting for civil change and getting a check. It's different. Let's be for real, okay?
That's exactly what you want to do. If you could get money, because his life is worth it.
We own a cleaning company. I own a cleaning company. I employ people, so I'm okay. God got me.
We're great. That's not what someone wants. But for my son, not to get killed by police.
Right.
I have a son.
Check the movie. Check the movie. Period. I ain't that mom. I'm not that mom.
I'm wondering if you can get these charges going after your Florida bill gets passed, friend and get passed. Then that way you can go after it.
Well, now, only if they retro it back. If they allow us to retro it back. Because the bill is passed, you know, then happened in January, they have to retro it back. That's the thing. That's what we fight. That's what we fight. You know what I'm saying? Retro it back a lot. So we look at that as well. So retro it back, we're good to go. We'll keep fighting us. We'll still keep fighting. It's still wrong. Still bullshit. They letting you off there. I ain't gonna be the doors, right? Y'all are doing nothing wrong out here. Not burning nothing down, no one's being annoying. What are we doing? What's the problem? That's not right. It's the problem, right? It's not right. It's the problem. You can't shut us up. And the thing about it, they feel like they're gonna shut people up or not. You can't shut people up. That's the thing. It's like, oh, you're gonna get tired. No, we can sleep out here. But we got a little water and stuff. Okay.
Say his son's name again.
Xavier Hill. XZAVIER HILL. On the page is hashtag. On my shirt. Hashtag justice for Xavier. It's all over Instagram, Facebook. You can look it up online. You're gonna see it. I am his mother. But standing in solidarity with his family. With all family lives and justice. Wrong is wrong. Well, and at the end of the day, I don't care if he was double or not. I don't give a damn what the man was doing, period. He's had a due process, period. The police took upon themselves to say, no, hey, I'm going to now pay the judge now. That ain't a damn job. That's what it is. You shouldn't kill me with mine. You're then saying, hey, due process ain't yours no more. I'm being a judge now, and the justice is now they're allowed to do that shit. That's the thing. The judge can just stand up and say, hey, that's my job to do something. They're letting cops now do their job and they want to do investigation. What the hell is the judge doing?
One officer needs two. Brother came from 2 grams.
Two guns in my son's case. Seth Walker Layton and Seth Benjamin Bowden. And then get this, my son's case. The chief of police, his son is one of the people who shot my son. The chief of police in Fredericksburg is Chief Layton in Fredericksburg. His son just shot my son. That officer was only on the force for like 3 months prior to my son getting shot. He just graduated recently.
He signed up for 3 sheets.
He's on the police chief. He's on the police chief shot my son, okay? He's on the police chief who just graduated from the academy months ago prior to shooting my son. It's all online. When you look it up, you don't look, you're like, oh my God, just me, it's all online. It's all online, I promise you that. So do not think they're gonna try to cover that shit up. Come on. Come on. Then the DA who's on my son's case was a state trooper. Former state trooper, his past job was also in Henrico County. It's all within the same group. You know what I'm saying? Like, so get out of here. We didn't have a fair shot from Jump Street. Like, come on. Like, that's the whole big thing about being transparent. Y'all people on here. Like, you're not transparent. Y'all already got to end. That's like me and my sister. They are on a company together. If she go down the farm, you ever gonna tell on her? I'm like, this is my road dog right here. She did nothing wrong. She's innocent. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they say all cops are not bad, cops, yeah, they are. You know why? It's cancer. All cancer is bad, right? Most of it's bad. It's cancers, right? If you understand the science of it, he's a cancerous cell, and you get attached or not, you're gonna all get cancer, right? You can't explain say to me like that one cop can say it's not a bad cop. See what you're doing, and you're okay with that shit. Come on.
None of these cops are calling each other out.
Thank you.
They're all like letting things slide, and you know.
They had one cop was there. I looked out of the news. They had one cop. He committed suicide though.
Y'all see that?
No.
Oh my God, they had a cop recently who came out on his I think on Instagram Live or whatnot, on Twitter or whatnot, was just saying about the district system or whatnot. He might commit suicide after the fact. So you got cops who are willing to step out, but I guess because of the fear of their lives, they don't stay out, you know what I'm saying what's wrong with you, fighting what's not right. It's just wrong. I think she's like that was fun.
What's your name, by the way?
It's Latoya Benton.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please do, yeah. And
All right, so police are back, making another announcement.
Must leave the area by 8 p.m. to comply with this order. If you're not dispersed by 8 p.m., you may be arrested or subject to other police action. You must leave the area. Violation of 8 p.m. curfew. You must leave the area immediately. If you refuse to leave the area, you will be arrested for North Carolina's
We're trying to see what we're encountering right now.
So the police have showed up in right here.
There we go.
Retaliate, but do not initiate.
Okay, this is beginning to look like Louisville. This I did not want to see. Starla, you're welcome. Thank you for watching. Again, there's more media than protesters.
All right, everyone. This is time to share this. Show everybody what's happening here in Elizabeth City.
EAR and no racism. It is 9:35. Coming from the other direction. It is ridiculous, Pie. We had one white girl on our track team in high school. She was our only distance runner, mile and 2 mile runner. There was a skinny kid in my high school that was just an absolute beast when it came to distance running. If I ran past 220 yards, I was done. I ran fast and for a short amount of time. Amen, James. No, the curfew is not working too well at the moment, but riot gear's shown up. And again, this is just, to me, this is just police trying to escalate things. And you heard among some of the protesters, don't initiate, but reciprocate. And to me, that's a no-win situation. Hopefully they're just a little standoff here, but generally when they come out in riot gear, they don't like to waste that time. Don't go down there. Don't go down there. Even if you think you're media, because status quo, you're a pretty good live streamer, my man, but these people are not going to consider you media. And you may get out of it for white privilege, but be careful. No, the protesters actually, Browning, last night, the protesters were, the police were leading the protest and following the protest as they marched in cars. Police were in cars in front of and behind. So this was quite the shock. It was announced about that there was an 8 p.m. curfew. It was announced probably 7:35, 7:40 when I got word of it anyway. I have that same prayer, Starla. It's not about the pigment of our skin. It's about the purity of our hearts. Yeah, you're right, Warrior Captain. The crowd does not. The crowd does not justify. First of all, it doesn't justify a state of emergency. Doesn't justify a curfew, and it damn sure doesn't justify anybody in riot gear. In my opinion.
As you guys know, as you remember in Minneapolis, this is all for show. There's nothing happening here, so.
I've got to correct that dude. He has not spent time in the South. What is standard procedure in Minneapolis? What is standard procedure in Louisville? May not be. You can tell that these guys don't get this gear out a lot. It all looks brand new. They probably have used this just in training and in drills, and this is the first time they're ever actually strapping this stuff on and picking up a club or a pepper spray or tear gas long rifle.
So you can see this guy walking by each officer, probably announcing who they're going to.
I really don't think that's what protesters want. I don't think protesters want confrontations. Some do, yeah, because, monolithic, again, we can't say all. But I think protesters want to be heard. They've got pain. And this is a way of expressing pain without causing damage. And I think it ought to be welcomed. White people, I've said this a lot on the show. So those of you that are regulars, you're going to go, here I go again. But white people ought to be thanking God, whatever God, whatever higher power is the individual white person's preference, that black people just want equality, and they're not seeking vengeance. And I don't understand. I don't understand. The people in the green hats, the white women in the green hats, they are observers from the ACLU to make sure that no civil liberties are violated. There were no body cams on there. I was looking for that too, T-Rex.
We in a peaceful.
Well said, Diane. Well said.
If I stand by myself, I have to stand by myself, bro. That's for my good word. If I stand by myself, I stand by myself.
Hey, sissy. I was telling the story earlier about how one of the viewers ran across the personality formerly known as Angry Viking, and how he wasn't ever in Louisville and had no idea who I was, and on January 6th broke all ties with any association with anything to do with that movement. Hey, true janitor. Yeah, it could be simply because these guys have got toys they've never used before. And somebody probably really wants to fire off a pepper ball gun at somebody or tear gas at somebody. So yeah, it could be. I sure hope not. But you just saw the observers leaving after getting all the badge numbers just in case something does happen. Totally agree, Browning. Stand down, everyone. Everybody just stay in their lanes. Come back tomorrow night. Carpe diem. But I don't know. I guess it's an individual opinion. Are these protesters, are these two men standing with their hands up? Are they trying to provoke the police, or give the police a reason to start something? Or are they just simply expressing their rights? He's got a phone in his hand. Remember the Isaiah Brown. Geez, so many names, so many stories. Isaiah Brown was shot in Virginia by the deputy that had brought him home an hour earlier. And while the dispatcher was on the phone telling them that he did not have a gun, he had a cell phone to his ear.
The great-great-great-great-granddaddy brought us here. And now you're mad that we're here. You didn't have to shoot that man down like that. So now people got to stand in the street so everybody can understand. They burning down other places. They burning down other places and standing on cop cars and busting open windows. Ain't nobody doing that out here. Ain't nothing done caught on fire. Ain't none of these businesses done got broken into. Ain't nobody lose their life but Andrew Brown.
All those, let's keep your hands up so you can see it all the time, bro. Keep your hands all the time, bro. So you see your hands all the time, bro.
They're doing this smartly. They're not giving any reason for escalation as far as the protesters, and the streamers covering it well. Oh, Sissy, this isn't like Louisville. These guys, this is the first time these guys have got this equipment out. This equipment is all shiny and brand new. There are no body cams on any of the officers, and there's no reason for them to be there. Of course, that's true a lot of times in Louisville and Minneapolis and St. Louis and Denver and many places we've been. But this is small town. Okay, this is happening in a small town. It'd be like happening in in the town I live in at the moment. Well, no, it's about half the size of the town I live in at the moment. Mike Hawk, welcome. Yeah, don't antagonize the police. If I was a black person, I don't know if I'd ever call the police for anything. What do you say, Knuckles? Hello, Zipper. Thank you for watching. Thank all of you for watching. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. No, they're brand new. They're brand new. Probably pine, but yeah, the batons are the blonde ones anyway. Now, I think the ones that don't have blonde batons, they have either pepper spray or canister launchers. It looks like. Okay, this is kind of close to what they call a Mexican standoff, where you've got three sides. You've got the media, you've got the protesters, and you've got the police. And the police are posturing, displaying power, and the protesters are displaying defiance and peace. And you've got the media who can't leave because something might happen. And who's going to step down? Who's going to back off? Who's going to leave first? Who's going to negotiate?
Too strong. Too strong. That man won't have nothing. That man ain't got nothing on him. He's too strong.
No, there has not been any violence at all, Knuckles, since this happened. Nothing. Yes, they are. They're successfully occupying probably the majority of the. I'm guessing the ones in the brown are sheriffs. The ones in the light pants are sheriffs, and the ones in the dark pants are the local police, because there appear to be more sheriffs, and they're probably occupying 80% of law enforcement in the area. So what they'll do, they'll petition for more money and bring in outside law enforcement, which just exacerbates the situation. Yeah, no, Knuckles, there's no way that. Last night, even the police had 2 cars in front of the protest and 2 cars in back of the protest, making sure that no vehicles disrupted the protest and making sure the protesters didn't disrupt the peace. But again, this is, now both sides have placed themselves in positions where, how does this end? And is it worth it for 15 people, 20 people?
So hang in there. If it does go out, I will reconnect. All right. So I'm gonna give it a try right now.
If the police hadn't shown up, this would have been over probably close to an hour ago. 9:52 is the current time, Eastern Standard Time. That's the time that Elizabeth City, North Carolina is on. Again, we're watching the stream from Status Quo. They were asked to leave, and the majority of them left. And the ones that were left were ministers and people in sport coats, and I just don't think it's worth this. It's just a visual demonization of people because of their skin color. This is just showing that these people are black, therefore they've got to be bad. Therefore, we've got to be prepared because we know they're going to be bad. That's it, cut and dry in 30 seconds. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Tell me about it in the chat. I'll be back up there in a few minutes. Oh, and y'all, I am monitoring, so if anything else does pop off anywhere else, we will we'll know about it. But at the moment, this is the story, and very few people are. Thank you to again Status Quo for doing this, because this needs to get out just as much as. There we go. There we go. Stand down. Stand down. You went up. You were defiant. Now step back. Cops, you step back now. Media, step back. Cops, step back. Everybody go home.
I heard them give the final warning. But let's see what happens.
Ain't gonna let no sheriff turn me around. I turn me around. Ain't gonna let no sheriff turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, we're marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let no injustice turn me around, turn me around. Turn me around, ain't gonna let no injustice turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, and marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, and turn me around. Turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Alright, so it looks like, more police just arrived.
Stay cool. How the hell they gonna stay cool with no weapons in their hand?
Ugh, everybody go home. Good night, warrior captain. Yeah, that's been the point. Why so many cops when it wasn't really worth it.
They're coming.
They're coming? Seriously? They are coming. Here they come. Oh my gosh. I was just about to go off here.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Who are they ordering to attack?
It's crazy.
Kind of right there. From the light dance.
The electric slide. We can make it, man. Okay, the majority of people there are media. Yeah, they're coming to the intersection. Carpe diem, nobody's been paying attention to what's going behind, but yeah, there are cops behind them. Good point, Browning. It is 10 p.m. The visual is horrible. If you're a policeman, how can you not see what these people are doing?
We stand like y'all today, baby. I want to go to bed today. We stand like y'all today. On my left hand.
when you want a revolution of ideology, these kind of visuals are so powerful to show and prove the point that this is a racist system aimed at oppressing black people. That's what these visuals do. That's why it's important we stream these things. Hey, true janitor, I told you, you can tell. Look how new that equipment is. Look how new that equipment is. There's not a speck of dirt on any of that stuff. And some of those guys have got to be wanting to. Here we go. They're trying to force confrontation. Don't touch him. Don't point at him. Oh, man.
It's bigger all over, bro. It's bigger than one. It's bigger than one. We're going to see. It's all week. You don't understand him, we stand nowhere. We have no problem. I'm staying, bro. I'm staying for your job, bro. And I lose no respect whatsoever.
This is just. Step back. Just take a step back. Step back. Step back. Both sides, just take a step back. Look at, you can tell that equipment is brand new. They're dying to use this stuff. Man, there's not a scuff mark. There's not a, this stuff come right out of the box. This is a small town. They don't do this stuff. And yes, there's a pepper spray gun in the background. Pepper ball gun. And yes, these sheriffs back here are probably have tear gas. Everybody just take a step back. Everybody's proved their point. Take a step back. Come back and do this tomorrow.
We're trying to change out my battery now. Basically, I have nothing left. Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Hey.
You're right, T-Rex. I'm sorry, man. I get carried away. Apologies. I'm gonna step back for a minute, sit back on the couch.
All right, guys. I got a full battery, so we're good. We're good. I'll be out here. So we got dirt bikes and ATVs, quads. They came out. I don't want to take my camera off over here because I feel like they're gonna move in. I do want to show the dirt bikes and the quads, but I feel if I take my camera off, something will happen. You can notice their badges, right here.
I believe that's the Punisher. Okay, we're looking at failure to disperse. We're looking at violation of curfew, and we're looking at resisting arrest. Now, they aren't resisting arrest at the moment, but it'll be called here in just a second. And hit the, you can always hit the ignore button.
My hands in the air. My hands in the air, and I'm peaceful. When we see your brother, how to take everything is fixed.
Yeah, they're. Here we go. Now we'll see if he's going to read.
No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No peace! I'm not going there. I'm peaceful. My hands are in the air, and I'm peaceful. My hands are in the air. I'm coming peaceful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Close it up. Close it up. All right. No justice! No justice!
That's why these streams are important, because you're not going to see this stuff on the news unless they're showing it from online.
What's your name, sir? What's your name?
Yeah, they're going to be charged with failure to comply, failure to disperse, violation of curfew, probably 3 misdemeanors, probably bail out tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening. But they did not provoke a resisting arrest charge by wrestling with as you've seen done in other cities. When they make an arrest, they will jerk the person they are arresting one side to the other to make it appear that they're off balance, to give them reason to take them to the ground. Okay, here we go again. Curfew at 8 o'clock. Small town, yes. Small town.
We got a city full of kids. Okay. This man got crazy this day. The same one that was dead in the they don't want to hurt us. I really don't think they want to hurt us. Not our police force. I'm praying in my heart that that's true, because I know a lot of y'all personally. Back up out of the face now. Get out of the way, street stand.
Get out of it. Oh, sorry.
Hey, you get out, bro. Window to stop. When it's my son, when it's your son. When does it stop? Look at the big man. Put your big ass back. No.
These guys are just looking like clowns. That was better.
Just from looking at these
Will be arrested for North Carolina General Statute. Under North Carolina General Statute, standing in the city or lying on the highway.
Move forward at a half step. Ready, move. Move back.
Actual physical or visible, the use of riot control agents in or less lethal munitions, which may cause risk of injury
You got a child out here with
remain. You must leave now.
We have to stand this is it, John. Let's stand for something. Because right now you falling for that bullshit. One! Move forward, half step! Ready, move! Move back! One! Move forward, half step! Ready, move! Move back! I watched your kids forward. Remember that. You raising them in this world. Teach them that. It starts with you. Try to write lessons, bitch ass.
This Elizabeth City Police Department violations occurred. You must leave the area immediately. If you refuse to leave the area, you will be arrested for North Carolina General Statute. Under North Carolina General Statute, standing, sitting, or lying upon a highway or street is prohibited. If you do not disperse immediately, you will be arrested.
Squad, move forward at the half step. Ready, move, move, yeah.
What you want to do?
Ready, move, move, yeah. Hey, line them up on the left. Right here. Line them up on the left. Move forward at a half step. Ready, move, move, back. Move forward at a half step. Ready, move, move, back. Back up. Before you get order. Take it back. Take it back. You're not here to ride. You're here to make points.
I believe these cops are just aching for somebody to do something. And kudos to the protesters or people or whatever you want to call them that are maintaining their civility.
I'm good.
But y'all call a curfew today. Hey, there's a curfew today. Building still standing, ain't nothing burning. But they put a curfew outside. They're tired of us disturbing the peace. My peace is broken, my place in my room shot that bitch.
In South Carolina.
I hope everybody's sharing this.
One, moving forward, half step. Ready, move, move, back.
Actually, they imposed an 8 p.m. curfew, Glenda. Oh, they've never had to do this before. I bet they haven't, because the last 3 nights have been nothing but peaceful.
He just wants to go home, get ready. I know that person. I know him being out here. It's just
That's what we want. Peaceful, just quiet word. You look at the motherfucking thugs. The killers. The cover up parties. The ones that doing this shit, what, 40 fucking years. Some motherfucking back, motherfucking over the track for you, but it's fine. It's time to get ready. Here we go. They still buying cars, they still buying houses, they still working. So now you killers. And they told me shit up. Tough guys, cover shit up. Be a man.
I mean, the dude with the Punisher patch, that kind of gave him away. There's absolutely no history of this here zipper. In other cities that might happen. If we were in Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Minneapolis, Louisville, Atlanta, but this is a town of 18,000, and that's a small community, relatively speaking, to what goes on in the grand scheme of things in this country in major metropolitan areas. Okay, they're coming from the other side now. And this group will probably do what's called a wheel, with the anchor point being right there at the curb. They'll probably wheel to their right and basically block everybody off. Burning everything to the ground isn't gonna help anything. It just loses our internet. Thank you, because I don't own the rights to that song.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking.
That could be Space Frog if the federal government orders the body cam footage to be released. There could be a full-on riot because people will come from other areas. Not that these people wouldn't be involved. I'm just saying that there's more likely to happen because people from outside don't care about burning things down when they can go back to wherever they're from. I'm just saying. And this song took me right back to the 60s demonstrations.
Walk it, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let white supremacy turn me around, turn me around, turn me around.
These people are indeed peaceful protesters.
Turn me around, we're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let no deputy turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no deputy turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let no murderer turn me around, oh, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no murderer turn me around. We're gonna
Talk black to me, you may be right, but we're going to keep on trying until proven differently. There we go. As I said, they would they're doing what's called a wheel. And they're basically going to create a box. Absolutely, Diane, absolutely.
Why are you right here? Who do you see right here? Same way y'all been talking now, they just want to be violent. You just want to be violent. You want violence.
Yeah.
You want violence. Look at it.
I'm going to step back out of the chat for a minute. I'll be back.
But now, why are you right here?
Hey guys, smash that like button. Oh yeah, it does. Looks like that. I feel like yeah, they're not in court. They're very uncoordinated.
So I watching my live now, which is share status quo. Very cool.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. You can watch the whole day here and check it live. Right, rest of the week.
Oh yeah, yeah. You see
with your cousin. We didn't do that. How would you feel?
Where were you?
choose to be
You in South Carolina.
You were born black.
When a racist went into a church and murdered
You were
black
born
people.
black.
Where were you? Why are you here?
Anybody here heard you?
Why are you here?
Same way y'all been crossing on y'all.
White men can come in
You did
and fight for terrorists and murder people throughout our country and go in without a strike. Here we are with a whole line of.
Again, if you just happen to be joining us, thanks for joining. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Peaceful protesters. Been peaceful for ever since the shooting.
They're the ones who should be arrested. The ones who violated the rights of Andrew Brown Jr. and murdered him. You killed him and you shot him in the back of the head. And if it wasn't you, you're an accomplice. You're an accomplice to a crime.
That's all I got.
Y'all gonna beat the media up too? Y'all gonna beat the media up too? Y'all came to the wrong place.
The wrong damn thing.
Came to the wrong place.
Gee, where you at, Joe? I'm already hey. I'm already in the
We're not violating the law. We're not violating the law. You're the one violating the law. Like you're trying to infringe upon our constitutional rights. Under the U.S. Constitution of the United States of America, under the First Amendment, we have the right to peaceful protest.
What?
We are protesting, and our rights are being violated if you arrest us. If you arrest us, you are violating our rights and you are violating the U.S. Constitution. We have the right to protest people. We have the right to protest people.
What?
We have the right to protest people. All of the protests have been peaceful.
They're going to circle them so that they make sure they don't get up and run away.
Hey, close it up. Right there. Close it up. Close it up. Close it up. Make sure your body camera's on.
Y'all arrested the wrong people.
Actually, I want to address something here real quick. That these protests aren't helping anybody. The truth will come out and there will be accountability. That is often rare. And if there had been anything that exonerated police in this action, it would have been shown to the family and the attorneys instead of the 20 seconds that was shown. If there was anything that made Anthony Brown Jr. look bad, it would have been shown already. And I don't think, unless the FBI, and even then, when the FBI and the Justice Department sue to see the body cam footage, it'll be lost. It'll be accidentally erased. Something will happen. In my opinion, we're not ever going to see that body cam footage. And because there has been so much invisibility to this point, there will not be accountability. And that's sad, because I think this could be a tipping point. And I really hope I'm a doofus, and I really hope I'm wrong.
Man, this is not police work. This is a joke.
These are Trump people right here.
If you're just joining us, there have been a total of 5 people arrested. All peacefully. Yeah, that's just my opinion, Zipper. I am assuming it's just my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes out. I hope it comes out fast, and this doesn't become a keg of dynamite waiting to be lit.
Completely insane what was happening there.
Oh, now.
Now they might pull him.
Where's your goddamn son? You gonna be out here with us? You don't want us to sit here and support your dumb ass. You chose this shit. You chose this motherfucking life.
You a sucker, dog. Shut up, man.
He said, yeah. He cool with it. He cool with it.
Get him off the fucking line.
He's straight with it. And you black.
Get him off the line. Get him off the line. Hey, you shake your head, nigga. You can nod your head. You can nod that head. Yeah, you grab some cash. Hey, all y'all some kids. All y'all. Every last one of y'all hoes. Hey, you two bitch. Hey.
By the way, a new law in Kentucky that if you talk to police like that, it is considered a threat and is an arrestable offense to cuss at a police officer. Also, recently, it has been passed in Oklahoma that if you are driving a vehicle and people are blocking the roadways and you run over them, you cannot be held liable. And in Florida, it is a felony if you are convicted of rioting. Now, the problem with that is so many people, as we've seen here in the chat, cannot differentiate what is protesting and what is rioting. Just wanted to throw those things out there, something to think about.
This is Brown right here. Bitch, I don't give a fuck if I stole candy bar when I was in kindergarten. What the fuck I did that day? Ain't got shit to do with fucking today. And that's why we choose that law. Hold on, wait. They take my fucking father. I see he ain't got no father. I go to the fucking streets. I end up selling drugs. You take me from my fucking kids. Where the fuck they gonna go to? The fucking streets. He still ain't had no hate for you, motherfucker. I can't say none of y'all ain't right now. Fucking sellout. Fucking sellout. And then once I go in, I can't get out, right? Once I go in, I'm always a fucking criminal. Sorry, ass guy.
Hey, yo, y'all might as well go ahead and put white hoods on and just stand together like that. Y'all might as well put white hoods on right now. Just put the hood on right now, man. Yeah, but just put the white hood on right now. You probably got one at the crib your wife made, didn't you? Eyes all fucked up, you can't see out of it.
That's a dirty ass time. Y'all fucking out there when I lost my voice and murder. How y'all live with y'all fucking self? How y'all live with y'all fucking self? Come on, man. They have a black son in this thing. They want to do this shit for other motherfuckers and they motherfucking hear about you. Y'all live. That shit don't make a motherfucking move together.
Law of command. I got more coming to you in the van. They're gonna need some assistance. We'll get them out.
Turn left, move. Follow the line. Ready, move. Follow the line to the left. Move. Go.
I don't think they know what to do. Left, right, left.
I kind of have to agree. I really don't understand what it was all about. I understand why the protesters were out there. I don't understand why the police showed up in riot gear and then felt like they had to display their power and force, which they did, arresting 2 initially and then 4 others. 2 black men initially arrested, and then 4 others arrested in a second round of arrests. And I'm really not sure why they came out, but they did. The protesters stayed peaceful. Probably the most vicious thing that happened was the screaming at them at the end. And if you don't have a thick enough skin, you shouldn't probably be a police officer. So, with that being said, Industrial Arts Denver, that's a distinct possibility. I'm just about to say, with that being said, I'm going to hop in the comments here for just a couple of seconds before saying goodnight. Show of force. Yep, that's what it was about. Glenda, vodka has messed up so many people. Harlan Brown, welcome. I hadn't seen you in here this evening, and I thank you for watching. All my familiar trolls up in. I like to say it's like the cantina in the Star Wars movie. You never know who's going to show up, or you never know what they're going to pop off. James Sweeney, hopefully Indiana stays peaceful, but chances are you will probably see me out broadcasting from somewhere, unfortunately, as the summer goes along. I love y'all. I thank you all for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification, share. Thank you all in the comments. If you'd like to help support the show, it is always needed. It is always appreciated, always welcome. It is $ American Doofus, AMERICANDUFUS, all one word. And if you want to email me, it is American Doofus at, also all one word, at gmail.com. I love you all. Peace, shalom, namaste. Nothing but blessings, positivity, love wished upon each and every one of you, prosperity, health, and healing. I love you all. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. It's a dark world. Do try to be a light and stay alive. I love you all.